pictures didn't have a surrealist influence, would we even admire them or think of them as we do now?
Yeah, let's say the selling of surrealism as an important movement. But it's not just cheap. It really did animate artists. Here was a different kind of purpose to photography. What the hell are you taking pictures for anyway? And it's not selling clothes. It's not perfect beauty. It's not kind of, this is what I find beautiful, kind of personal thing. It's these are the deepest, truest urges of humanity, myself there, my childhood experience,
None
blah,
of the
blah.
surrealists ever really agreed who was a surrealist anyway. They always fought amongst themselves,
Yes.
saying this guy's out Salvador Dali is just a trickster.
Yeah, and right, got all kinds of factions and personal disagreements, but all in one way or another, they're cheating, working with the same concepts and methods very often. Of, how do you make something look unreasonable? Take a sofa and take a pickle, put them together, and you've got a surrealist subject, right?
What's a more interesting image, one that involves the human interaction with both of those sides, or just the quick representation with no intuition?
Who's interested in interest? Say, we're interested in psychological truth, not interest. Said, you go to the shrink and he says, ooh, that's interesting. Screw your interest at $50 for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I want to be cured, right?
Yeah.
A lot of those pictures, especially the store windows and things like that, are visually loaded all by themselves.
Yeah.
Not even taking a picture, or the roots, or whatever.
You mean the Auger pictures, right?
Right,
Paris.
exactly.
Yes, and this is why the surrealists love it. 7 dummies lined up, all with the signs that say 7 francs, 17 francs, 12 centimes. And how great. And half of them don't have heads. Whoa. And you can see the buildings and people across the street reflected in the shop window, right? At the same time. So it's a mirror and the interior of a shop. And on the street, multiple levels of viewpoint and landscape and what have you put together. But if you asked Auger, this is for the Museum of Paris, the Musée Carnavalet. They wanted, what do the shops of Paris look like? And this, incidentally, that part of this is the new shop windows, which are much larger in the later 19th century than because you had industrial plate glass. So it's how has Paris progressed over time in its street life and street advertising through shop windows. I mean, that was Auger's era, and that's why his photographs were bought by various museums, libraries, government archives. What does the transportation look like? What do the streets look like? We just want documents of this, and that's what he thought he was doing with the Man Ray and other surrealists looked at his works and said, we've got it. Here he is. No matter how straightforward he wants to be, it's all kinky.
Still had the unconscious,
Can you be
whether
a
you tried
surrealist
to or
if
not.
you don't think you are?
Yeah, that's the surest way to be one. You're not planning it, right? Just
So Weston obviously wasn't, because he was planning everything.
well, but like every other person in the surrealist circle.
I mean, he's the anti-Auger. He's doing it all the time.
Okay, he's a liar and a cheat.
No, but what's wrong with that?
No,
Yeah.
well, lying and cheating is bad when you're claiming to be. Well, he doesn't claim to be, revealing the unconscious. He says, well, I just, it's natural beauty here. It's a surrealist.
Once you start with the Freudian construct,
Right. You're in trouble.
all other discussions don't make sense because you, by its own definition, it's the unknowable. It's the only guessed at. And so it just strikes me, there's so many words used for a visual subject. You spend more time talking than looking.
Yeah, exactly. But without the talk, Weston wouldn't have been doing the peppers like that. So you ask yourself, why did he treat a pepper like this? Was he into health? Was he advertising for the pepper growers of Central Valley, California?
No,
You have to ask, he would not have approached a pepper like that had he not been aware of the concepts of and methods of surrealism.
Right, and that was what, when you said that earlier, I picked that up. I mean, I appreciate the fact that it's not just a visual thing. It is that interaction with the words and the images, which at least makes it a fairly human experience. But
Well, of course, then there are a lot of, well, not photographers, but let's say conceptual artists, that you need a picture for.